So today we have Trailblazers Uncut, which is where we chat with our female entrepreneurs that are leading the way in their industries. And it's just a general chit chat about the business, but no BS, just the truth. And about all the challenges and various things that they face. And today we have joining me Emma Sayle from Killing Kittens. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Do you want to, before we start, just explain what it is that Killing Kittens does?
Sorry, it's tricky. It started as Killing Kittens. It's basically 20 years ago. Um, Started I wanted to create a safe space online and offline for women to basically have the power and be in control of their sex lives and make the first move and explore their sexuality without any judgment. So, what started as parties, mass parties, where people could have sex if they wanted to, but it's very much sort of femme-led and the women in control and that community of women being able to speak to each other openly. What started as that 20 years ago has now snowballed into the KK group, which we're launching a cruise next year, and we've got a big online dating app community called WhatsApp. So everything we do is very much empowering people now, all humans at the core in their sexuality, but it's very with a real kind of femme-led theme to it, giving women very much the power in the middle of it.
Well, 20 years ago, that's a long time to be in this, isn't it?
I know, I'm like vintage now. I'm older than we had when I first launched. The age range was till up until 45, and I thought, wow, that's old. So we'll just have 45 as the cap. And now age 47, I'm like, wow, how obnoxious was I?
So have
Yeah.
you changed the cap now?
Yeah, we don't have a cap. I mean, we it was like small because it was small parties and sort of 40, 50 people. You kind of have to have your barrier. You have when you start a brand, a lot of people start niche and then actually but I mean, very quickly I launched Silver Kittens, so it was sort of one person in each couple, had to be over 45. So it was very much we were, including everyone. But then the kind of whole ageism, and we realized that we couldn't actually have an age limit on it, and actually it didn't really matter. And I think you just, I got older and wiser.
I'm quite
Yeah.
pleased. I would be a silver kitten then in those days.
Yeah, I get a few people still say, when you're gonna do silver kitten parties again. And I'm like, no, it's now it's all inclusive. All our events are all inclusive from, 20-year-olds up to 6-year-olds and over 60. So, and that, I mean, that's the beauty of the world we live in is, couples aren't, the age ranges can be huge either way now. So, we see sort of 50-year-old women coming in with, 20 boyfriends in their 20s, and as much as we see the older men and younger women. So it's a thousand shades of grey now, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. So I can't imagine the conversation you had at school. Like I remember at school and you had that careers advisor, what do you want to do when you leave school? I'm sure that this wasn't what you said.
No, but do you know what? I was at boarding school. I went to boarding school for 10 years. So, well, that was the argument I had with Dad right at the beginning when he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "You taught me to be the best at what I do. You didn't give me any parameters. I am the best." So, it no, I remember it because we did those tests, where you fill in those forms in the sixth form. Um, and I know mine had like, public relations, which I didn't have a clue what that was, and events. It had events on it and public relations. So, um, yeah, so I pretty much ignored it because I was a real scientist. I was a maths geek and loved science at school, and I very much wanted to. And the sports was my thing. So actually, initially, I did sports science at university in order to then I wanted to go and do PhD and masters in sports physiotherapy and go down that route. So that was sort of where my head was when I went to uni. But then I ended up organising all the big events and the big parties at university and being the social secretary for the athletic union and things, and that that was the bit I loved
So,
doing. And yeah, sports my passion.
so what was it that made you lean into this space then to end up?
Do you know what it was? I went into PR and investor relations when I left uni, and then I went. that was sort of soulless, and I moved into the entertainment PR. And within that, we ended up sort of helping on the PR for the Erotica show, which is a big sort of sex expo and trade, which was over at Earl's Court back then. Trade show, and I just met really weird and wonderful, and it just opened my eyes to this whole adult industry and sex industry. And I'd always had this fire burning in me since I was little. I was a real tomboy, an army dad, a very controlling military dad, who treated mum like crap. And there was this fire that was, well, if boys are doing it, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be spoken to like that, and I'm going to, and so it was sort of that sense of justice, of fixing. And so I was very much, well, if boys are climbing trees, I'm going to do it. If they're going to do army stuff, I'm going to do it. If, I had really short hair, I played the trombone because no other girl played it. It was very much that. I had that in me. And so when and then going into the dating world, it was like, well, hang on, boys can sleep around and do whatever they want to do. Why shouldn't we be able to, without that shame? Why do we have this shame and judgment and, all through our bones? And in this, and it went into, so that work, seeing the Russia and the adult industry, I was like, hang on a minute, these are, back then, these are brands, sex toys and lingerie brands, that they're being designed by men, male owners of the businesses. Men are designing them all. Men are basically telling us, even the porn industry, you've got, the female porn stars, but you've got all male producers and directors. And, again, this is telling us what we should be doing and how we should look and how we should act and what sex toys it's sort of that fire was sort of still, was there. And I came across these kind of parties. There was quite sort of high-end swinging type party setups. And again, I was sort of I was helping one, on the communication side of stuff and the PR side of it. And so again, it was very male-led and quite pushy, and it just, I thought, no, this isn't, but a lot of the people I met were really lovely, lovely people and lovely couples. And it kind of opened my mind and showed me, that there's that stigma of people into the lifestyle and, open-minded sexually as being kind of weird, something wrong with them and stuff. Or actually, I realized actually, no, there's absolutely, they're far from it. They're the most kind of clued up, switched on, in tune with themselves and each other, relationship wise, than most couples I know. So it was seeing all of that, and at the same time I was kind of out and about with a group in London who were known, the women were very much known to be very open-minded. They were in the media a lot, and these women sort of a decade older than me, I thought were the most amazing things I'd ever seen. They just didn't care, and they did what they wanted and just owned it. And it was kind of that sort of insecure sort of 23, 24-year-old envisioning a world I wish I lived in. So I think that's part of it. Kind of, I created, without really thinking about it. I look back now, I've very much created a world I wanted to be in, a bit of an avatar. That was how I wish, I had the power and I had the confidence and that body positivity and to back myself. And it was when Sex and the City had come out that year, and Summers had hit the high street, and Lalo sex toys went into Selfridges. So it was sort of this whole buzz, that female, sexual revolution going on, apparently.
In more ways than one here, Emma, the buzz.
You are?
I said the buzz in more ways than one.
Yeah, exactly. It was very buzzy, but I always say, no, all fart, no poo. So there was a lot of poo. Sorry, no, there's a lot of fart, a lot of chat about it. And in real life, I thought, well, it's not really happening. It's where can you go? Where can women go to feel safe and in control? And where can they go and chat to other women without judgment? And I looked around, and even girlfriends I knew wouldn't tell, they didn't have those conversations with their best mates. And I just thought, well, yeah, just wanted to fix that. I think that's part of very high functioning ADHD, and what I've discovered is there's a real sense of justice that comes with that is exhausting. I mean, it exhausted my mum. I was always that, well, it's not right, I'm going to fix it. Everything was, even now, I have to stop myself going, stop, just let it be. I don't have to try and fix everything. Yeah,
I'm going to pick up on a couple of things that you said there. So firstly, one of the early things that you said was when I asked how you lent into this and it got set up, conversation with your dad about what you were doing? So did your dad approve of what you were doing business-wise, what your choice was?
No. No, I think he threw his computer across the room, my mum said. So I wasn't there at the time. So um yeah, no, he didn't approve. Mum thought it was quite amusing because I think she just liked, I mean, they're not together anymore, liked the fact, like seeing my dad so wound up. And also I think with mum there, she had, he was so controlling, and she was with him a long time, and she's, we're quite similar, me and mum. I think it was sort of, there was that, good on her doing,
Yeah.
actually doing it. So it was sort of, she's always sort of been my number one, yeah, cheerleader.
No, that's really good. That's really good. And then you also talked about, you mentioned before about how it was okay for men to be sexually active, and that was seen in one way, but for a woman, it's not seen in the same way, is it? People
No,
make.
and it's still, yeah, it's still not. And that's what, I've got girlfriend, you probably get, know people, so many people splitting up and divorcing and who've been together years, they're coming out of 20, 30-year relationships, and it's still, and they're, once that fire's lit and they're out there, but to get to that point, it's that shame of they shouldn't be doing it. And, it's, oh, they can't put out, and they go out on a few days, oh, we need to wait 3, 4 months, really, really like him. But I'm like, what are you waiting for? It's kind of, if if he likes you, it sort of doesn't matter whether you put out now or in 6 months time. That whole kind of that just all that messaging that we've, as girls, keep your legs shut, and shame that we had growing up. It's so in our bones, it's like entrenched in us, and it's really hard for for women to actually snap out of that.
Yeah, well, you're right. You are a long time dad. We're only here once, so life is.
Yeah, apparently, the biggest regret women have, like, you ask, they've surveyed sort of women in their 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Um, their biggest regret is always that they didn't sleep with more people, or that they were too worried about what people think.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely. So do you think the narrative is shifting since you started 20 years ago?
Yeah, I think it's shifting. I think in younger generations, it's shifting. So, when you say that to, friends of mine's daughters and stuff, or you see them in their 20-year-olds girls, they don't have, they're much more open. They're much more
Mm,
open. They are, experimental, and not judgy, and this, and just, if they want to have a one night stand, they'll have a one night stand. They're much more sort of aware, and we're sexual and we're animals, and without that old school messaging in their bones. I don't think it's not perfect. It's not everyone. You still see, I mean, I see it with my kids and see it in some of their parents. They are very much, they treat the boys differently to the girls, and there still is that, good girl messaging of, oh, it's just boys being boys, and it's like, well, what is boys being boys? So yeah, it's still there, and I think but as parent, it's up to us, really. It's very easy to sit in the same cycle and just repeat, you know, what comes naturally out your mouth, because
yeah,
it's in us. Yeah.
I think some of the conversations I've had with younger people I know, like who are dating ages at school and, coming into puberty and stuff, is nowadays that they don't have like one boyfriend. Like they're not exclusive anymore. They have multiple dates, with multiple people, all at the same time, because I'll go, oh, is that your boyfriend? No, no, it's just one of, or girlfriend,
Yeah.
you know.
Which is as it, it's sort of, I think it's easy to, but again, it's that messaging of, like, we would, you talk, got to, you're successful as women if you find a man and get married and have kids.
Mm.
So, I didn't meet my husband until I was 35. I remember in my 20s feeling a bit, oh, is there something wrong with me? Because, I had a lot of girlfriends all getting married, and I look back and I'm well happy that that was the way around. But I remember at the time being in the thick of like 20s, and so many girlfriends finding the one, and most of them are divorced now. But hey, it was that's what being successful as a woman was
Hmm.
back then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think I was expected to do. Learn to be a secretary, learn to type. I'll be a secretary,
Mm.
get married, have kids. I didn't learn to type, and I never got married and had kids. So
Good for you.
But yeah, I'm still happy. So obviously you started Killing Kittens. Now you are international, aren't you, Emma? How did all that?
Yeah, so we do, I mean, we've done events in America for what, we've probably about 15 years or so, and a few in Australia, and then we do, around Europe, Paris, Venice. Yeah, so we do loads of events all over the place. We have a community all over the place. I think we've got about 200,000 members. On the online side of it. So people actually now kind of organize their own little events. That's the beauty of the online, the tech platform we built, so people can create their own groups and their own events. And then yeah, then next year we're launching a cruise. So KK Cruises and Retreats, we've launched. So our first like retreat is October, November this year. So that will be sort of overseas, and then the first cruise is the Mediterranean, and then we're just booking actually 2028 and 29 sort of over Antigua, Caribbean way, looking at sort of Malaysia, Bali, kind of that kind of side, doing one
Mm-hmm.
as well, and more in the Mediterranean. So it's one next year, and then we'll go up to two following year. So we've suddenly become a travel company.
So how do people get on the cruise? Do they have to be members?
No, so the cruise is it's all coming through the same, but all our booking comes through, all our Wax app. Basically, we built a whole online payment system ourselves, and our platform and booking platform and everything. So everything from the events, the cruise comes through that, but they're not our cruise team are taking because we're just not letting single men book. So you've got to be couples or girls. And then what's happening, they are getting all the membership T's and C's type NDA that we do, that all Killing Kittens members have. So for the cruise, they're not signing up they don't have to be members to start with, but it's sort of, they very much are taken through what it all means. But the majority of the people booking stuff, I think we've got about 65% booked up. It's not till June next year, so it's doing well, but the majority have been our members that are signing up. And but then we've had it's good, yeah. We've for the first time ever we've been able to do like Google ads, which we've never been able to do for Killing Kittens. So yeah, we've had quite a few now coming in from the States because the tech lot have been playing around with the Google ads side of things. Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit in regards to PR and advertising. What sort of challenges and restrictions do you have when you're trying to push Killing Kittens out there?
Well, Killing Kittens, so because we've got the separate entities now, you've got Killing Kittens, and then you've got KK Cruises and Retreats, and you've got Wax That. And Wax That went live 3 years ago, and now Cruises, so Killing Kittens, we've never, because it's seen as adult, it's shadow banned. So, LinkedIn's is really interesting, because if I mention Killing Kittens in a post, it literally gets about 10, 11 impressions. If I've put the same post up without linking in Killing Kittens, and it's thousands of impressions. So we're very much, yeah, same with Instagram and stuff. So we've never been able to do any kind of ads on that. And Wax App, as soon as we launched that, we were approved by Meta, Google ads we can do Facebook ads, we can do Google ads. The same for the cruise, because it's travel and retreats, it's not sex. Neither of them are sex. You've got a big kind of lifestyle, so it's sort of sex positive, open-minded online ecosystem on one hand, and then you've got the cruises and retreats on the other side. So they're not seen as adult or sex. And yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, literally, it's been a year of being able to do things that for 19 years we haven't been able to do. And just seeing how effective it is. So that's the thing. It's like other friends, our own businesses, and they can do Google ads from minute one. And you just think it's frustrating because we can see the effect. And that's probably why it's been 20 years to get to this point, because we have not been able to do any digital marketing the way any other brand can do it. So yeah, but that's there's been a lot of PR. We've been fortunate on that front, and it's kind of playing with that, because actually PR and media is one of the only ways we can get the advertising. So that's sort of, it's been playing with fire a bit of sort of who allowing journalists to cover an event, or me speaking to one, but trying, that's how there's been a lot of media for 20 years, and we have been lucky because most of it's incoming. requests rather than us trying to push anything out.
So with the PR, because obviously it might be seen obviously as quite a controversial business that you have, is it all positive, or do you get on the other side, the judgmental or negative type of press?
Do you know what? It's always judgy, but that's not so much about the journalists and you're always going to have the clickbait headlines. Because that's just
Mhm.
where the media work, and
Yeah.
the journalists don't write the headlines. They write the piece. The pieces have always been good. You just might get a real clickbait headline, but the actual article is really good. So, and that's the judgment comes from sort of readers' comments and that kind of stuff, which I don't read. Lots of my friends have great pleasure in reading the comments just for their own amusement. So yeah, I think last week we had one in the Metro about the cruise. There was like over 1,000 comments. So yeah, and a few people went through them. Apparently, they were quite funny. They sent me a few, but it's that's it. The actual, I think from day one, we've been very open. I've been very open about what it is, what I'm doing, and there's
Mhm.
sex. There's people having sex. That's a lot of the events.
Shock
So
horror.
yeah. So actually, you can't. They've never been able to have a got you. They claim to be doing this, but we went undercover and found this. It's like, no, I've told you exactly what's going on. So it's sort
Yeah.
of um because you're doing that, it's like Ron Seal, we do exactly what we say we're doing, and that's how it's always been. And I think when you're transparent like that, there's
They've got nowhere to
um
go, really, have they?
no, and they just write about that. So you're like, well, if it comes across controversial or seedy, it's like, well, actually, that's what we're doing, and
Yeah.
people can, have whatever opinion they want on it. Well, I know what I'm doing. I know the purpose of it all, and the whole drive behind it. And if people want to just see seedy and sex, then so be it.
So to grow your business, you had some investment.
Yeah.
So what sort
Yes.
of investment did you get, and how did that happen, and how did
We,
you
do you know what? It
grow?
was 2018. I had a business partner. I got a business partner join me in 2017. Because I was sort of looking at the numbers and realizing that almost, about 60, 40%, it was almost 50-50 online and offline revenue. But I was
Mhm.
basically blagging the online side because I'm not an online person, and just changing memberships. And it was like a basic online dating kind of membership site back then. And it was when Me Too happened, and
Mhm.
I just thought I need someone that knows tech and strategy, and I'm a real offline person, and we're going to have to raise money to go big or go home on the whole big tech platform. Or some Silicon Valley upstart's going to come in and claim to own this female space and stuff. So yeah, so when Hads came on board, yin to my yang, and it was like, we're going to need to raise money. And to start with, people immediately go, well, you go and speak to like city boys or VCs and that, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right, and I just thought, it doesn't, to me or Hans, it was sort of, I don't want five guys out there claiming, swinging the dicks, claiming to own Killing Kittens, and and we were a community, a massive online community. So we went crowd on Cedars, so we did a crowd because it was more, again with KK, we've kept prices not stupid, for the ticket. Could have raised them ages ago, but I've always gone, I don't want to outprice a 21-year-old girl who's just got to London and started a new job. I want her to be able to afford a ticket. At the that end of the parties and stuff. So in the same way, it was kind of, we're better off. Well, I want to put it to the members so that someone could put 50 quid in, and then
Yeah.
you've got advocates, and it's a massive advocacy, and they're out there feeling like they own part of it, and so you suddenly got all these brand ambassadors out there. So we went, so we did a raise in 2018, and then we did another one 2019, and then went for that future fund in COVID, so we had to do a small raise then, and then bigger raise, I think 2022. So we've raised about 2.5 million, I think, in kind of four raises. And each time we've done it, on Cedars, we did Crowdcube one year because Cedars were annoying us, so we went Crowdcube. And then we came back into Cedars because it's sort of, yeah, trying to get a little bit more control. But I think we've got over 2,000 investors now, really, if you
Wow.
look on it. So yeah, Seeders and Crowdcube are on our cap table. And yeah, and it's all gone, it all went into just the whole massive tech digital side of the business. And then we've just done a bond. So we're doing a bond sort of loan as well, because the cash flow of the cruise side, it takes a massive chunk out. I mean, it's very stiff payments on cruise ships,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to start paying sort of 18 months before. And obviously you haven't got the revenue from the suite sales comes in later, but you've still got,
Mm-hmm.
200 grand needs to be paid on the 1st of January. And then 2 months later, so they're very stiff. And we didn't want to hit slow down the growth of the tech and the rest of the business. So we've just done, but yeah, we've raised about 400 grand for bonds. So 6 month, 12 month or 24 month, like loans basically, which actually went really well. Because I think there's a lot of people that don't want to, they've said, oh, that suits them better because they can't be seen to be investing in Killing Kittens. But actually, on a bond and on loan, they're getting their money back. And it's
Yeah.
bigger interest rates than in the bank or investing somewhere else. So yeah, so actually we had a lot more interest than we thought on that one, and raised really quickly, which hasn't happened before. So yeah, so that's gone well, and that's kind of covering the cruise side, and allowing us to then go down 2028, 29, 30, getting everything booked in on that front.
So big plans, obviously, with the cruise. Where next?
To be honest, it's getting the cruises in. We're looking at resorts and all around the world basically that might work for the retreats. It's basically kind of, there's a lot. We've always been very agile. And the small party market is quite saturated. So it's sort of, we kind of came out of that. I mean, we still do some, but in a kind of, since COVID really, or just before, it's sort of, we wanted to create massive experiences. So more
Mm-hmm.
people, and you go in and experience, and it's the performers and the DJs, and it's not about having sex. That's the
Mm-hmm.
byproduct. That's kind of there if you want to go off into. But a lot of people now, probably sometimes at events, 50% of the people keep their clothes on and just like the party and the experience. So yeah, so it's sort of going out, we've kind of gone out, we're doing less of the smaller kind of
Mm-hmm.
150, 200 people, because there are so many people doing that now, that side of things. So ours is more, it's very much expanding the brand. So expand the travel side, where is our main focus, because sort of the margins in retreats and cruises are if you sell them out and do well, it's that kind of having to, when you've got a small team, going, right, where are we going to make make the margins without having to work our asses off doing loads of little parties. So
Yeah. No.
and then the tech side as well. So the Wax app has all been, we were rebranding it all at the moment, so it all fits into the KK group, so it very much is aligned like with the brand, so you can tell it's all part of the same group. So I would say that it's that side of it. The Wax, the community side on that, and then the retreats and cruise side are sort of the big push at the moment. And 20 years. So yeah.
So yeah, I can get it though, because if you're gonna go on a cruise, you're going, it's not just about sex, is it? It's about that whole experience and being with like-minded people.
Exactly, and it's community.
Literally.
I mean, the community side's massive.
Yeah.
And you get that, people that I take friends to summer parties sometimes, and they're like, just the people are, you just get a feel, and they have an amazing time, and they feel really safe, and they chat to great people, and sometimes they don't even see one naked person, and they just say it, just as a woman, it's empowering. Or groups of women come down together to it. So that's it. It's the community side of it, and I think the world we live in now, it's even more important. I think people are, we're tribal, and when you feel unsafe, you go kind of, you want your people, and that in real life side. So I think that's what we're seeing. People are wanting those experiences and wanting to make, you know, some of the events we do in the parties we do in Venice or Paris, actually it's sort of the whole weekend that people love, and they meet for lunch, and the night before there's like drinks, and it's kind of, it's that we're kind of massively focusing on, is that whole community, and how we kind of not monetize it, but in the what can we do for that. And you know, it's kind of, and the member side, and you know, we're launching a whole perk you know, side to it. So if you're an X Plus member on the site, there's loads of different, we've got loads of brands from Layla and Love Honey, you know, we've got over 200 type brands, and with like discounts and stuff. So actually it's sort of, we're adding all that to the membership side of it as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. You're obviously developing it, and it sounds like it's all about the relationship sides, that, you know, because it's just like us, you know, we bring people together, they build relationships, they want to spend more time, you know, doing stuff with each other. So no, it sounds amazing. So before we wrap up, I'm going to finish with one final question. So what's one rule that you may have broken that changed everything?
Oh God, where to start?
I think you might have broken a few, Emma. I get
I
the
think I've broken a few. The change. Do you know what my one rule is if my gut doesn't feel it's right,
Mhm.
then I'll say it's not right. I'll call it out. You know, I think that, you know, it doesn't matter to me if someone's saying, but that's the rule. If it doesn't feel right, then I'll fight to I'll fight to change it. But that, I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's everything. I mean, well, COVID, I broke every rule possible then, because again, it didn't feel right. I thought it was all wrong. So I was like, I'm not gonna, you know, not have some friends in my garden. I'm not, you know, it was, yeah. So I mean, no, that didn't change everything at all, but I think the rule is, you know, right, but the main part of the business was the rule that, you know, we should keep our legs shut. And um yeah, broke that and changed the, you know, the world, and created a new world that has sort of snowballed and is growing, and that is the KK world. So I would say that.
Well done you for championing us ladies, so we can feel free to do whatever we want. So thank you, Emma. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
there's women out there who are thanking you for that. And thank you for joining us today on Trailblazers Uncut.